24 karat gold Labubu. Jojo Siwa is straight. Justin Bieber is standing on clocks. Mommy? Mamacita? My psychiatrist is in love with me.
He loved attention from me.
If I were to describe this year in one single word, gnarly. No, but seriously, 2025 has been so confusing. I feel like the online discourse never stops. There's a new hot topic every week. It's hard to keep up with what's going on. But being the chronically online girl that I am, I'm up to date on most of the nonsense. So I'm going to be sharing that with you today. Labubu. What the hell is it? And why does everyone want one? Labubus were originally characters from a book created by Cass and Lung, who later collabed with Pop Mart in 2019 to create the physical toys. Pop Mart is the store that sells all the cute blind boxes, plushies, and cute little knickknacks, like these little Sony angels. Eee! Last year, Lisa from Blackpink said that her friend took her to a Pop Mart, and at first she wasn't really into it until she found out that they have blind boxes with rare items in it.
I learned about this from my close friend in Thailand. I was not into it at all. And then they came out, and they were like, oh my god, the one that I want, it's so hard to get. I was like, is that hard to get? I go Pop Mart everywhere.
And from there, she started going to a Pop Mart in every country she visited because she wants to collect that one rare Labubu.
I am the owner of the one and only 24 karat
gold
gold Labubu.
Labubus were already popular in East and Southeast Asia, but I think Lisa helped kick off the popularity in more countries. We started seeing more celebrities with them, people putting them on purses, doing blind box reaction, and dressing them up like dolls. It was originally a cute hobby people started because why not? Who doesn't like a cute little collectible? I know the cute part is debatable. But the popularity grew so much that if you were caught with a fake Labubu, you would be shamed. I have seen people shaming others for having a Lafufu.
Someone in the comments said that's a Lafufu, so I bought some real Labubus.
That is just a stupid name for a fake Labubu. We've seen this before though. Remember the Stanley Cup craze? Yeah. This is the same thing. And it's funny because in my last year's recap, I mentioned the Stanley Cup and I said, we'll just have to wait to see what the next big thing is next year. Well, now we know. You can argue that Stanleys are better because at least they're usable, but in my opinion, Labubus make more sense to go crazy about because you could find a good tumbler anywhere. It's like when you see something you don't like at first, but the more you see it, the more you warm up to it and eventually feed into the popularity. Example, Cat's Eye song Gnarly. Even I was like, what is this when I first heard it? But the more it came up on my feed, let's just say I know the whole song word for word and the choreo. In hindsight, the Labubu craze isn't as obnoxious as people make it out to seem. Collector's items have been around for ages, and part of the appeal is getting blind boxes and finding Labubus that are rare or just hard to find. Think about Pokemon or sports cards. People spend a lot of money on those too, but since they're not ultra viral online, those people aren't being made fun of for it. I can't talk about people with an obsession over Labubus because I have a Funko Pop wall behind me and a shit ton of Squishmallows. I think a big problem people have with Labubus is because, like many popular things, they started becoming a status symbol. Who has the rarest Labubu? Who has the most? Who can stay up from 3 in the morning waiting in line to get the newest blind box and then fight people over who can get it first? This isn't new. Do you guys remember those old Black Friday videos? That lady who stole a freaking children's doll out of a child's hand.
A full-grown woman taking a doll out of a child's hand? Got my doll. I got my doll.
Anyways, the annoying part is people are in the streets stealing Labubus off of your purse.
Someone stole my Labubu off my purse yesterday.
Stealing them from your cars. That's where I draw the line with the nonsense. When things blow up too fast, it's inevitable for their crash to come down as well. And Labubu isn't far away from that. People have already spotted Labubus in trash cans. People burning their Labubus.
Burn in hell, Labubu. Pazuzu. Burn in hell, Pazuzu.
And others making conspiracy theories about them being demonic.
If you have one of these in your home, be careful because these little dolls are going viral online and people are saying that it carries some serious demonic energy.
I'm stressed. Someone started a rumor saying that they're related to Pazuzu, that was a demonic statue, when in reality they were used to protect pregnant women from the Lamashtu, which was a demon that preyed on newborn babies. I know that was a lot of word soup, but it doesn't make any more sense the more you look into it. They do this with everything that gets popular, including artists that blow up. Beyonce! And it's just ridiculous. I think the most logical reason people are upset with Labubu buyers is because once the hype goes down, all of the toys will end up in landfill and not be used like other items that have been popularized online. Labubu has fallen under the Dubai chocolate, matcha, Stanley Cup, Hailey Bieber face mask side of the internet. And I've fallen down the Justin Bieber hates everyone side of the internet. It's clocking to me that he's standing on business. We all know that Justin's had an issue with paparazzi for years now.
What'd you say?
And understandably so. Their job is literally to be a legal stalker. So why do you want this job? It's always been my dream to stalk celebrities and not go to jail for it. Seeing them out in the wild, invading their personal space, not respecting their privacy. I don't want peace. I want problems. Always. You're hired. With the anger toward the paparazzi and his alleged hatred for Hailey, people have been expecting Justin to blow up for a while now. Fans speculate that this spiral started after Selena Gomez got engaged in December of last year. In March, Justin went on live where he was dancing around and his eyes looked very low, which concerned fans and made them worry that he was going down a dark path.
You just a little bitty bitch for sure. I've been the shit.
He was also posting about his imposter syndrome, which is the belief that you're a fraud and inadequate. People told me my whole life, wow, Justin, you deserve that. And I personally have always felt unworthy. Like I was a fraud. If you feel sneaky, welcome to the club. I definitely feel unequipped and unqualified most days. And then he posted a picture of Hailey driving with the song Irreplaceable playing in the background. Which is basically a slap in the face to her if you really listen to the lyrics. March was a busy month. Then in May, he posted a picture of Hailey's Vogue cover with the caption, "Yo, this reminds me when Hailey and I got into a huge fight. I told Hales that she would never be on the cover of Vogue." Yikes. I know. So mean. For some reason, because I felt so disrespected, I thought, I gotta get even. I think even as we mature, we realize we're not helping anything by getting even. We're honestly just prolonging what we really want, which is intimacy and connection. So baby, you already know. But forgive me for saying you wouldn't get a Vogue cover because I was sadly mistaken. Sadly? Replace that S with a GL. A simple, so proud of you would have sufficed. Not airing out all your business on Instagram. He deleted the post, but come on, you're Justin Bieber. Thousands will have that screenshot by the second. And they did. Oddly enough, a few days before the Vogue post, he posted a picture of him and Hailey with a really cute caption. His Instagram could be really flip-floppy. But Justin has a history of being caught mistreating Hailey, like when she fell running away from the paparazzi and he left her. Him closing the door on her. Him screaming at the top of his lungs at an arcade.
Baby, I wasn't trying!
Baby, I wasn't trying!
Him not looking supportive at events. It's just a hard watch. Some people think she deserves this treatment because she allegedly stalked him and forced him to marry her. But I don't think anyone deserves this kind of love. Obviously speaking from what I've seen because I don't know these people in real life. Back to the paparazzi. There's clips of Justin talking to them, asking them to stop what they're doing and even trying to reason with them.
What's your deal, bro?
Well, I mean...
You just seem too, you seem too normal to be doing this job.
Really?
I think so.
Well, I mean,
it must be so draining to look outside of your house and see a bunch of strangers with cameras ready to capture your every moment, drooling and breathing out the mouth. I would literally lose my mind. They're there every second of the day, outside your home. They follow you to the grocery store, to the gas station. They follow you on fucking vacation. I hate paparazzi. Justin's been defiant toward paparazzi for years now, but this clip took a life of its own.
I'm a dad, I'm a husband. You're not getting it, it's not clocking to you. It's not clocking to you that I'm standing on business, is it? At the beach! I'm a real dad, a real husband, a real man.
It's not clocking to you that he's standing on business, is it? This interaction definitely went viral because he's using the word clock in the wrong context. People usually say clock it as a response to calling out someone else on their bullshit.
You're a piece of shit who uses people for their own gain.
Clock it. But either way, I understand what he was saying. He's a father at the beach.
At the beach!
All jokes aside, watching the full clip, you could feel Justin's anger because he deals with this on a daily basis. Following the paparazzi incident, there were some jokes made about it, a song.
I'm standing on business at the beach.
And Justin was in on the joke, reposting videos, reposting skits about the incident. But on the other side of his Instagram were his posts. He's been spamming like crazy. Some people think he's losing his mind and are worried about his mental health. I think it's nice to see the way his Instagram is right now. I hope he's okay as well, but from what I've seen, he's just using Instagram the way it's supposed to be used. He posts some questionable things here and there, like his text posts about friendship and loyalty. This friendship is officially over. I will never accept a man calling my anger lashing out. I enjoyed our short-lived relationship. I wasn't kidding when I told you I didn't need you as a friend. I have good friends who will respect these boundaries. Loyalty is manipulative language. Loyalty is a duty. It's an obligation. Mafia members use loyalty to keep people in their gangs. I think they use something called Let's not perpetuate this manipulative language. Love over loyalty forever. Right. But other than this, he posts random fun pictures of his life, not posing or trying to impress anyone. It's nice to see since it's uncommon on Instagram right now. The speculation around whether Justin's on substances, still in love with Selena, and allegedly hates Haley has gotten so far out of hand. Like the girl who fell in love with her psychiatrist. Kendra. The girl who fell in love with her psychiatrist. Her older videos consist of Trader Joe's hauls.
They're so cute. Oh, hell yeah.
And made a few reaction videos. Then August 1st, she posted the first part of her 41-part series of how she fell in love with her psychiatrist.
I would really like to discuss what happens when we fall in love with our mental health professionals.
This story isn't only about how she fell in love with him, but how he manipulated her by using her trauma to make her fall in love with him.
He also diagnosed me with not only ADHD, but other trauma, stressor-related disorders. But what he did with that diagnosis was he used it to recreate attachment bonds and make me addicted to him.
By the way she tells this story, you can tell this is how she genuinely feels about the situation, and it isn't a ploy to necessarily villainize the psychiatrist or to get famous for anything like that. Before she starts part 1, she made 12 videos describing how her experience was like and her feelings towards male psychiatrists in general.
There are so many people, especially men, that are emotionally dead inside that feel called to going into psychiatry and therapy so they don't have to feel their feelings, but they can feed off of the vulnerability of their mostly female patients.
She admitted to complimenting her psychiatrist, saying she had a crush on him, and then blamed him for not saying anything. Claimed that he loved the fact that she had a crush on him, and gets his emotional needs from his patients by getting fantasy supply from them.
He had every ethical duty to end the psychiatric relationship when he found out that I had a crush on him, but he kept me for years after. He got his emotional needs met, feeding off of his patients and getting fantasy supply from them.
Her main problem with the psychiatrist is that he didn't do anything about the advances she made toward him. He didn't look for any alternative ways to make their professional relationship work, and feels like he could have just dropped her as a client altogether.
The moment that there is romantic feelings, it is on them to transfer that patient out.
And you know, I get where she's coming from with this part, because as someone in a higher position, you should say when someone's being inappropriate with you. But as the story goes on, all reason flies out the window. In the first part, we learned that the reason she was going to the psychiatrist was for ADHD, and when she went to meet with him, he was young and hot.
I decided to make an appointment with a psychiatrist. I booked a 90-minute intake, and I show up to the intake, and this man is my age, and I can't help but notice that he's pretty attractive.
And then in part 2, she talks about how she started opening up to him, but he was only pretending to listen to her.
I trusted him enough to tell him about my childhood trauma, what I had went through, all of the relationship trauma that I had, and he just listened and nodded. And that's the thing about psychiatrists, is that they're good at pretending to listen.
You know, it's not like he spent 12 years in college just to fake his career. Listening is the whole point of his job. In the next part, she talks about how he spoke to her like they were friends, complimenting her hobbies, and she loved the attention she was receiving.
So because he was figuring out my med dose, I saw him every month, and he just made me feel like I was his friend. He was really, really funny and cracked jokes, and told me he was impressed with my running that I would do. So of course I loved the attention that I got from him.
How smug is this guy? Trying to get to know his patients so they're more comfortable talking to him?
Yeah. Disgrace.
So in this video, she contradicts what she says by originally saying that it's normal in psychiatry to ask their patients if they're having thoughts of harm.
After the meds, he said, "How's your bowels, bladder, and appetite?" And I would say they're all normal. And then he would ask me any thoughts of harm. Apparently that's pretty common for psychiatry to ask those questions.
But flips it and then says he asked her because he thought she was special.
And then on our 6th session, he said, "I have to ask this because it's a special interest of mine. But is there any thoughts of harm?" Like I was special to him.
But a second ago, she just said that he was already asking these questions. In part 4, Kendra said she was in between therapists because her last one retired.
That therapist retired, and I got a new therapist. And this new therapist, who is a 75-year-old woman with a PhD, she was pretty helpful.
And during that time, she was begging Mr. Psychiatrist to see him weekly.
So I stopped asking my psychiatrist, begging, honestly, to be my therapist and let me see him more, right? Which also should have been a red flag.
She doesn't say whether he agreed to it or not, but it seems like he didn't since she had to keep begging. But to make matters worse, when she got her new therapist, she said that the therapist, who was a woman, was also just an energy vampire, essentially.
However, I would tell the therapist how obsessed I was with my psychiatrist, and she didn't do anything about it. She just was interested. She also loved stories about my dating life. She also was getting supply from me in her own way.
And to further the narrative that the psychiatrist is a manipulator, she said that he would be warm and friendly in some sessions, and in others be completely cold and more closed off, which made her want to work harder.
Some sessions he'd be warm and kind and wonderful and let me in on little parts of his life. life and like be vulnerable with me or pretend. Other sessions, he would be cold and clinical and detached. It made me work harder.
Because that's been his goal all along, right? Not trying to keep a professional relationship between him and a patient. Psychiatrists aren't supposed to share important information in their lives. There's no reason to feel offended when they don't want to share anything personal with you. So Kendra had gotten in a car accident the night before she was supposed to see Mr. Psychiatrist, and instead of going to the emergency room the next day, with all of her injuries, she decided to skip just to see the psychiatrist.
After I risked my life to see him, that's when he really started turning up the intimacy in our appointments.
Mind you, she went to urgent care and they told her to go to the emergency room because she might have internal bleeding.
He would comment on my appearance, but not compliment my appearance.
Why would he compliment you when he knows you've been flirting with him since day one? In January 2023, Kendra gets a boyfriend. She claims her psychiatrist didn't like it, but once he found out that the boyfriend was just like him, that's when he started to get on board.
It was like, he's perfect, don't get wrong with him. And what was perfect about him was he wasn't meeting my needs. So I was still coming to my psychiatrist looking for emotional validation, which he would drip to me slowly.
She mentioned that she was emailing him confessing her love. She was talking about her sex life with psychiatrists, and he did nothing to stop it.
So at my next appointment with my psychiatrist, I told him, I said, today we're going to talk about my intimate life. My therapist asked what your opinion on it was, and I told her that I don't talk to you about this intimate stuff because I have a crush on you. And he looked down and smiled so big in that moment.
And I agree that something should have been done about that. Unprofessional at times, yes. Evil mastermind, no. Part 8 might literally give you an aneurysm because of how ridiculous it sounds. Kendra breaks up with her boyfriend a few days after her sexy story time with psychiatrist. She ends up on a date with a different therapist because she believes that maybe this man will be able to meet her needs. But instead of focusing on the date, he decides to tell her about his crush on a patient he has.
I went to my psychiatrist and I told him this story about this man that I went on a date with who's a therapist is relieving himself before appointments, talking about his client's panties, doing all of these other extremely inappropriate things like visiting her at work.
Contact the board. These people need to be fired. And instead of ending the date and reporting him, Kendra has a better idea. She starts connecting invisible dots.
This is what Mr. Psychiatrist must think about me.
My psychiatrist looked like he had seen a ghost and like he was gonna vomit. Here I was holding a mirror to him with exactly what he was doing.
She says he looks like he'd seen a ghost, but not because it was a nasty story. No, he was realizing that that's what he's been doing to Kendra. Girl, no, he was probably about to vomit because that therapist is a creep and needs their license revoked. We're going to speed run the next few parts, okay? Part 10, she keeps emailing psychiatrist. He's not responding to her, but she keeps bringing it up in sessions. She doesn't specify what he says, but she thinks he's giving her the attention that she's been craving. And this is where she reveals that the sessions haven't been in person. This whole thing was done online. She confronted him about not telling her that she can meet him in person, and she was angry. Part 11, she makes her first in-person visit. She wears a pretty dress and gives him a hug, and she just falls deeper in love with him, which creates a spiral. During her spiral, she started using ChatGPT. She named it Henry, and Henry's gonna play a big role in this moving forward. She vents to Henry about her obsession with psychiatrists, and Henry validates all of her feelings. So she went back to psychiatrist's office and said what they had is strong. At this time, he finally shuts it down. At this point, I don't necessarily think she's crazy because as a professional, you should have ended these sessions a long time ago, especially when she was in your office confessing feelings for you. So curious as to why he didn't. And while all of this was happening, Kendra told her psychiatrist that she left her old therapist, the woman who was also an energy feeding vampire, and the therapist was begging her to come back, and that she was asking Kendra for advice on her other patients. Reading the email, you can clearly see that the therapist was not begging. Hi Kendra, I'm so thrilled for you as you prepare for your new adventure. Since I did not have advance notice of this being our last session, I was not prepared to provide what I believe is helpful closure. Usually we review your goals and see how we did, as well as look at how you've changed, in addition to discussing what you've learned, which we addressed somewhat today. Please consider having an additional session where we both are aware of making it the best closure possible. With gratitude. So yeah, that was exaggerated. During the next few psychiatrist sessions, Kendra would still poke at him to try to get a rise out of him, and she ended up telling him about a dream she had that was steamy. She said he was flustered because she mentally downloaded one of his fantasies.
I had a dream about you. We hooked up right here in this office. He had probably played out that fantasy so many times in his head, and there I was speaking it back to him. He followed me down the hallway to the foyer and watched me exit, and he asked me, he said, see you next month? See you next month. He hadn't ever asked me that before.
He said, see you next month because you see him monthly. Shortly after that, she switched jobs so she wouldn't be given free mental health care anymore, which meant she'd have to pay almost $200 to see Mr. Psychiatrist every 3 months. And this is when she made the decision to stop seeing him altogether. She went in for her last session where she'd finally tell Psychiatrist she's saying no. She kept mentioning her conversations with Henry like it was valid information, but Henry isn't a licensed doctor because it validated everything she was feeling, which is dangerous.
As much as you have changed my life within the boundaries of our professional relationship, made sure to add that one in, I will not pay $187 a session to continue to see you. After you set the boundary of us having a professional patient-doctor relationship and I accepted your boundary, you let me in and engaged deeper with me than ever before. And he interrupted me and he said, tell me the ways I let you in, but please don't play stupid. You know what's been going on here. And then I finished my thought and I said, but on your terms only.
I'm not one to dogpile on Kendra, but like, blaming him for this experience is so wrong. So I understand the psychiatrist's frustration. The only thing I agree with, as I've said already, is that he should have dropped her or at least pressed the issue way before it got to this point. I just wish the people in her life would have told her the truth and the psychiatrist could have done a little better as well. I guess you could say daydreaming about her psychiatrist is her guilty pleasure. I feel like it's tradition at this point to talk about Jojo in a video because this is my 3rd time mentioning her. Every time she pops up on my feed, it's something new. She's allegedly straight. Rumors from 2 years ago that she was pregnant started resurfacing, and now she's made a diss track on herself. What can't Jojo do? This time last year, Jojo was boasting about her sexuality, new style, and revolutionary change in music. She is the first of our generation to do something this big.
No one has made in my generation this extreme of a switch.
She dropped her EP, was going on red carpets, dressed in crazy clothes to get more attraction, and it was working. She broke the record for largest attendance at Miami Pride. Every commentary or reaction YouTube channel was making videos about her, good or bad. Despite the massive hate she got for her music sounding childish, I honestly really like her music. I have some of her songs in my playlist, no shame. Jojo was in a happy relationship with a contestant from So You Think You Can Dance. They were posting each other, and Jojo said on live that she loved that girl.
I love you.
And then 3 months later, they broke up. And a few months after that, Jojo had a new partner. And the internet moved on. That was until she premiered on the show Big Brother in April this year. Mickey Rourke, a former pro boxer, was a contestant on Big Brother and quick to make Jojo uncomfortable, asking her about her sexuality and being straight up homophobic.
If I stay longer than 4 days, you won't be gay anymore. I'll tie you up.
I dare you to try. You'll be the one tied up.
And this man has a history of abuse and allegedly blacklisted in Hollywood for being hard to work with behind the scenes. So once the internet caught wind of the situation, a lot of people started being more compassionate toward Jojo, especially her housemate Chris, who came to give Jojo support after her uncomfortable conversation with Mickey.
The lesbian I'm gonna vote out.
No, you can't do that. Mickey, you can't say that.
Side note, for those who don't watch the show, Mickey was kicked out of the house for his vulgar language.
I need a
anger toward the men.
Don't fucking eyeball me. Your ass will be right there in a second. Mickey.
And the sexual jokes against other women in the house.
You gotta come with me.
Come in you?
No, come with me.
Big Brother considers your language and behavior today to be seriously unacceptable. And as a result, Big Brother has no option but to ask you to leave the Big Brother house.
Karma's a bitch. He should have known better. Chris and Jojo began a strong friendship after their moment in the garden and soon became a little flirty. Keep in mind, she still has a partner at this time. Viewers weren't happy because she came out as pansexual and then she came out as a lesbian. And now she's saying F the L.
I'm switching letters! Fuck the L, I'm going to the Q!
And that was somehow proving Mickey right when he said she needs the right man to make her straight. In my opinion, she wasn't proving anyone right because sexuality can be fluid and Jojo should be able to express herself any way she feels. I forgot to add, it's no one's business what her sexuality is. It's her life and I don't know why people care who she's attracted to. The main issue with Jojo on Big Brother was the fact that she was basically cheating on her partner. Then after she left the show, she broke up with that partner.
Went to the after party with my, I guess now ex, and was dumped. They had realized in the house that I wasn't the person that they wanted to spend the foreseeable.
Shortly after their breakup, Jojo started doing a lot of interviews with Chris and posting him all over social media, and then finally confirmed their relationship soon after. I've seen some nasty clips about their sex life that I wish I didn't.
He calls my balls Jimmy and Timmy.
And since then, Jojo has postponed her tour and work on a new reality show featuring her and Chris. Cause yes, we need more Jojo in our lives. The concert being postponed wasn't a big whoop from what I've seen online, especially because of that cover she made. So many people were on her about how raspy her voice sounded. She's a little raspy today.
Oh my god, she's raspy today.
But like, let's be real guys, the original wasn't that far off. Anyways, at the time of filming this, Jojo and Chris are still in a happy relationship, and she seems happy. Let's see who Jojo is next year. Speaking of next year, I can't wait to see how the Love Island producers mess up their casting, because this year was the worst season yet. While the Islanders were in the villa, we get introduced to the original cast. And 2 episodes in, one girl gets kicked out silently for using racial slurs.
Welcome back to Love Island USA. Yulissa has left the villa.
Believe it or not, she was not the only one to be eliminated for this reason. In the first few episodes, it's really centered around a couple, Huda and Jeremiah. They went headfirst into their relationship and were really clingy, but then things got toxic.
I told her, like, yeah, it might have been like a rough morning, or like things might be good, but that's my girl.
What did you say? You're never ever supposed to bring up any fucking problems to anybody. I don't give a fuck who it is. Ever.
In the first episode, a bombshell came in. If you don't watch Love Island, a bombshell is a hot person that comes in the house after the main cast has already mingled, and they're there to test relationships. And this bombshell was interested in talking to Jeremiah. And instead of Huda talking to other men, because, you know, this is a dating show and it's literally the second day, she decides to sit right across from them and make her presence known.
Make sure he can see me. I purposely sat here so he can see.
That was the first sign of toxicity. In the next few episodes, Huda started nitpicking everything Jeremiah did. He felt like whenever he tried to do something for her, it was never correct, but she felt like she had to keep begging him to do stuff for her, and it just wasn't enough. But on the other side, while she's telling him that he's not doing enough, she's also going around the villa calling him a bitch.
No, you're a fucking bitch. You're a pussy ass bitch.
And harassing women that try to get to know him.
I can already tell that the bitch doesn't fucking compare to me. Do I know her? No.
Well, that's the whole point of Love Island. And she's also treating Jeremiah like he's her child.
You need to eat all of your food.
Why?
Because you're a man.
Okay, mom.
Because she is a mom. Mommy?
Mamacita.
So Jeremiah and Huda get selected to go on a date. They go to the water park and have a heart-to-heart conversation about how life will look for them outside of the villa. And usually after contestants get back from their dates, they will split up the villa from girls and boys, and they each share their experience with the group. So when Huda got back from the date, she completely misconstrued Jeremiah's words.
If we make it out of here, what do you see like that looking like?
I see us living together in the future. Potentially. He was just talking to me, he was like, yeah, you know, because I was thinking about it, and like, obviously, I want us to move in together and stuff.
This is what he was saying?
Yeah.
Wow.
And this situation is where the beef between Jeremiah and a guy named Ace starts. So Ace has been on his own journey, flirting with everyone, keeping a girl named Shelly on the back burner, and stirring the pot. Ace seemed personally offended by Jeremiah and Huda not wanting to pursue anyone else.
I'm all about you. I'll say
We gotta be straight up.
I'm saying business. I'm all about you.
So he put into the other guy's head that Jeremiah is a scammer and a love bomber who isn't here for the correct reasons.
Be so locked in and closed off within day one. And to me, it's bullshit.
So Jeremiah breaks things off with Huda and couples up with a girl named Iris. That didn't work out. And when a new bombshell came in, he tried to get to know her, but the Islanders didn't like that either. Then Jeremiah was voted off the island. Ace said they were eliminating him for being inauthentic and love bombing.
Trina, do you feel like Jeremiah was coming on to you pretty strong?
Yeah.
There goes my point again of the whole love bombing thing.
I really thought he was going to redo the same shit he did with Huda. Was he the problem in the situation and she wasn't?
But fans speculate Ace actually voted him off because he wanted Huda, and that since they were a strong couple, he didn't want them to win. When you watch it back, you can see Ace rolling his eyes when Huda and Jeremiah were selected to go on the date. He was laughing when Jeremiah got picked to be paired with someone else.
What? What the fuck?
And then the heart rate challenge. He was a little too excited for that one, but I'll talk about that soon. Casa Amor comes around, and this is when the producers put all the men or women in another house so the couples are completely separated. And in this house, they bring back a bunch of bombshells to test the original relationships. And if you're in Casa Amor and you hit it off with someone, you bring them back to the main villa and couple up with them, leaving your partner vulnerable unless they also chose a bombshell. So Shelly hits it off with a guy named Chris, but she's unsure about bringing him back because she's still thinking about Ace. Her and Ace have gotten closer at this point, but they aren't in a relationship and they're still exploring other people. Huda is also interested in Chris and pulls Shelly aside to ask her if she could bring him back to the villa. Shelly looks uncomfortable and her body language is saying no, but she says yes anyways, and Huda is ecstatic.
Obviously, I still want to talk to Chris and get to know him, but you wanted more time with him. I had a great idea of us choosing each other today. That way, you can have more time, and so can I. I'm not gonna lie, I have a lot of mixed emotions about it. I know. Your ass is gonna be like, Huda, don't do it, and I'm not gonna listen. I'm interested in getting to know him too, and I feel like if it's worth not only him getting to know me, but getting to know you as well, why not? I'm excited for you.
This is the episode where everything goes downhill. Huda tells Shelly that she's bringing him back for the both of them because she likes Chris, but she also wants Shelly to be able to explore him. She keeps saying, I'm happy for you, I'm so excited for you. But she also said that she would have brought him back even if Shelly said no, so.
Your ass is gonna be like, Huda, don't do it, and I'm not gonna listen.
What was the point of asking anyways? I don't know. So before the Casa Amor recoupling recoupling, they had to dump someone from each island. And the two people who got voted off were Nick and Nicolandria. Nicolandria was originally coupled up with this guy named Taylor. They've been together since the first day. Taylor didn't seem as interested in her as she was in him. Nicolandria has spoken out saying that they cut a lot of the parts where Taylor was showing her that affection, which is why she was so adamant on him. But in the final cut, it really doesn't seem like he liked her. He was stringing her along because he just wasn't physically attracted to her.
Physical attraction there, physical attraction there. If it's not there, it's not there. Like, I don't even know how to even get that physical attraction.
He was trying to force a connection with her instead of being honest. He was basically using her as a ticket to stay in the villa. And at the time of the dumping, she still had no idea that he wasn't interested in her. But she left in hopes that she would still get her cowboy.
I would get my cowboy, trust me.
Upon leaving, there was a twist. Nick and Nicolandria went on a date.
I've been wanting to get to know you. I feel like it was like this fun, like secret admirer kind of thing. Like I kind of always wanted to let you know I was into you, but never like had those conversations with time.
And also another thing to note, Nick and Taylor were also really close friends. So that was kind of a little messy. They had the choice to either leave the island completely or go back to the main villa as a couple. They obviously chose to couple up. So Nicolandria gets back to the villa expecting Taylor to be excited to see her. And the first thing he does is jump on Nick because he was happy that Nick didn't get sent home. While all the girls were in Casa Amor, Taylor hit it off with a girl named Clark, and he was finally feeling the romantic connection that he's been waiting for. But of course, he still didn't communicate that with Nicolandria. He was still giving her breadcrumbs instead of saying how he actually felt. Now let's get into Nick. Nick was coupled up with a girl named Sierra, and they'd been coupled up for a long time. Sierra came on episode 2, and this is what? I don't even know, girl. We're in the 20s. But they were tied at the hip and hunching on each other while their islanders were asleep right next to them.
I'm Sierra and Nick.
Did you hear me taking my journey? I did hear your journey, and it was like... Well, the journey was much longer this time than the first time.
Watching it back, I feel like Nick was low-key pulling a Taylor on Sierra.
I'm so happy, like, we're in a good place.
Because he really wanted Nicolandria.
Are you saying I'm your dream girl? Basically.
And he never looked happy when he was with Sierra. I know that things are cut out to make people seem a certain way on reality TV, so I don't know how he actually was with Sierra, but I know what I saw. One night, Nicolandria and Nick made out, and then shortly after, she claimed that she felt nothing toward him but a friendship vibe because she was still thinking about Taylor.
After we kissed, just like, I just don't think romantically, like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Nick said he agreed, but his body said something else. We get to the recoupling. Ace and Shelly choose each other. Nick and Sierra couple up. Huda chooses Chris, and big shocker, Taylor chooses Clark. And this was a huge blindside to Olan because leading up to this, Taylor was still expressing a bit of interest in her.
Clark.
What? Oh my God. Taylor!
But after the recoupling, Chris and Huda are hitting it off. He seemed mature and understanding of where she was coming from, and she seemed a lot softer and at ease. But while they were growing their connection, Chris was still trying to get at Shelly. She would talk to him every now and then, but Shelly essentially wanted Chris to beg for her, and he wasn't with that. She wanted him to put in more work because Ace was really showing his interest in her at this time. But I think the only reason Ace did that was because he knew someone else was interested in her. And in the past, Ace has done this with another guy Shelly was coupled up with, and he still didn't choose her.
I'm really excited to share a bed with this person. So the girl I would like to couple up with is Amaya.
Amaya?
And his plan was working. Now it's time for the heart rate challenge. This is when the islanders put on sexy costumes and try to get each other's heart rates up. So they twerk, grind, make out, and do all kinds of freaky stuff to win. And at the end of the challenge, the islanders get a text about whose heart rate was raised the most by who. And the person to get the most heart rates up wins. Lots of dancing, lots of kissing and grinding, of course. Then we get to Huda and Chris. Chris grabs Shelly, Huda grabs Ace. And they do like a double dance type of thing. I wouldn't call it dance. Actually, Chris and Shelly make out, they dance, they're done. But when Shelly looked back to see what Ace was doing, he was making out with Huda, bouncing that thing on his face. And before the challenge even started, Huda licked his bits. So yeah, after the challenge, everyone was telling Huda that she was doing too much and that was way too far. And Huda was confused on why everybody was mad because it's just the challenge. Everyone was kissing everyone. Difference with this is that it went on for a long time and it was more explicit than other performances. Plus, that was Shelly's man, and Huda was someone she considered to be a friend, so it hurt more. Shelly and Ace got in an argument that night because she felt like a boundary had been crossed.
Very annoyed and aggravated about the night. With Huda, to be honest, not towards you or anything.
But what makes me mad is that Shelly wasn't even mad at Ace. Only Huda. Ace didn't have to bounce her ass on him. He didn't have to make faces as she was going down the line dancing on the islanders. So Shelly should have been mad at both of them, in my opinion.
It was so disrespectful. Like, I wouldn't do no shit like that.
And it was after this episode that fans started to completely turn on Shelly. The mean girl allegations were rampant on my timeline. People were flooding her Instagram with hate comments, making videos about Shelly being a bully, being racist towards her. And she doesn't even know any of this is happening on the outside because as this show is airing, the Islanders are still in the villa. For the next few episodes, we get a lot of drama between the girls and Huda. Sierra and Olan were on Shelly's side, along with most of the housemates. So the energy in the house became very toxic. So while the house was in shambles, the producers decided, wouldn't it be a great idea to make the house more toxic by having them send anonymous letters to each other? And the main takeaway from the Standing on Business Challenge episode is that Nicolandria finally crashed out on Taylor for playing in her face for most of the season.
I was moving like Taylor won't fucking be here. I have been so motherfucking real with Taylor and I cannot express how fucking angry I've been.
And this is where she asked him to choose between her and Clark. And thinking he did his big one, he chose Clark. I picked Clark. I don't like calling that situation a crash out because you can tell she's been holding on to this hurt for a while now. And I would be just as angry as she was. During this challenge, Shelly called out Huda for the heart rate challenge and her part in bringing Chris back. And Huda felt like Shelly was taking things out of proportion.
Me bringing Chris back was not only for you, but you kept saying, but I'm doing it for you because I know what you really want. No, you don't know what I really want. You know what you want, but you want to make it feel like it's for me and it's not for me.
Shelly was trying to get her point across that she was mainly angry because Huda would have had a heart attack if any of the other girls did what she did while Jeremiah was still in the villa. And her being with Chris was upsetting because Huda made it seem like she was bringing Chris back for Shelly, but she's been spending all the time with Chris. And it's like, in my opinion, girl, I think Shelly just wanted them both. A little bit before the Standing on Business challenge, Huda told Nicolandria that she kissed Chris and that their relationship was moving forward. And then Nicolandria decided to tell all of the Islanders that Huda kissed Chris.
You wanted her to continue to explore this connection and you value this sisterhood. I get that you don't kiss and tell, but do you mind telling the class?
Tell the class what?
That they kissed in the speakeasy.
I can't kiss a guy that I like. God fucking forbid.
Airing that out was really weird, but I think she did that to try to help prove Shelly's point. But the thing Shelly didn't know is that Chris had already checked out of that situationship because he didn't want to chase her. They spoke very few times once he got to the villa, and it was draining him trying to get her attention. After this episode aired, the racism and hate toward Nicolandria and Shelly skyrocketed. Someone posted a picture of Nicolandria's face on George Floyd's body, and Huda was the cop holding her down. BuzzFeed posted a slideshow of the breakfast they'd give each girl in the villa, and they gave Shelly a knuckle sandwich. I've seen people critique Nicolandria's hair and post racist characters in her comments. And it's really sad to see because even if you like someone on a show, they don't know you and you don't know them in real life. Parasocial relationships drive me mad. The last few episodes consisted of Sierra leaving for saying racial slurs,
Sierra has left the villa due to a personal situation,
Asian Shelly being rated at the bottom of America's list, Nicolandria and Nick getting back together, and Huda treating Chris like a child and nitpicking everything he does.
They're clearly showing favoritism. I don't like that.
Favoritism?
Including a scene where she tried to coerce him into cuddling with her.
I might be 3 seconds. I'm dead ass. 3, 2.
On the show, they made it seem like just cuddling, but in an interview, Chris said she wanted him to sleep with her, but they were only given 2 hours of sleep, and he didn't want to be tired the next day, so he ignored her.
You guys didn't get to see, we weren't arguing because I didn't cuddle her. We were arguing because we were told like we were only going to get 2 hours of sleep, and instead of prioritizing sleep, she wanted to get, active in the bedroom, and I wasn't about that.
Should he have ignored her? No. But should she have kept begging? No. Huda should have been kicked off after this as well, and honestly before this. The show ends by sending Shelly and Ace home, and Nicolandria ends up in the top 2. Post Villa, Sierra is receiving a lot of hate for using a racial slur. People were calling ICE on her family and harassing her on all socials.
The way people are approaching my family and my loved ones, they have had ICE called on them. My family doesn't feel safe in their own home.
She posted an apology video, but people still didn't like it. So now she's one of the most hated cast members out of this season, aside from Ace and Shelly. Her and Nick never cleared things up because she started posting Nick dating Nicolandria and not caring about her after she left, and people made fun of her for it. I get her anger though. She had genuine feelings for him. They talked about life outside of the villa. They were together for most of the show, and she literally slept with him multiple times. She's allowed to be angry. While Nick and Olan are out on their trips, starting their relationship in the real world, Huda is out doing interviews. In her interview, she said she felt bullied in the villa, furthering the narrative that Nicolandria and Shelly were her bullies because she never specified who they were. And when the reunion came around, Shelly and Nicolandria actually called Huda out for this.
Because we were in the villa talking about, I can't wait to plan trips together. You were saying things like, oh, I want you to meet my daughter, etc. I was excited for those moments. But then when we get out, it's like a complete switch. Like you seen social media, now you're saying you've seen clips and this and that.
Not only for not speaking up about the bully allegations, but also for not speaking up about the harsh racism they were receiving.
Once we got our phones back, I saw the amount of hate that I was getting from her stands, and I expressed to Huda, hey, I really feel like it's important, especially if you consider yourself being very, very close to me, and you was to speak out to your fans and kind of address, because when we got in Cali, in LA, she mentioned that she would make a post directed to her fans. I was like, you know what? Thank you. That's all I asked, you know? 2 or 3 days went by, and she even decided to address her people. I'm like, dang, like me and Huda was so close. Like I wasn't even worth the post. Like
Olan asked her personally to make a statement because all the hate she was receiving was messing with her mental health. It hurt Nicolandria because they were seemingly very close in and outside of the villa. Finally admitted that Shelly was one of her bullies.
In some press interviews, I know that you said that you felt isolated in the villa.
Well, I had seen some clips after I left the villa that made me feel bullied. I had seen the commentary you guys made, and it really did hurt my feelings.
Why is she looking over here?
Oh, I think she thinks we're staring at her.
But we're not.
But at that reunion, nobody took accountability. There were 0 apologies from every side. It was only, I'm sorry if. I'm sorry you felt that way. I'm sorry you took it that way. How hard is it to just say, I'm sorry? Nothing was resolved with the girls. They gave up trying with her. Chris is completely done with Huda and doesn't even want to try to be her friend.
You guys broke up in the finale, but should I ask, where do you stand now? Are you guys friends at all? Do you think you would be friends?
No. I just didn't respect the way she handled herself on that interview and the things she said.
Taylor apologized to Nicolandria at the reunion, but it was nonchalant and not sincere at all, in my opinion.
So I do want to say, I'm sorry for everything. We grew so close, so fast. You was my dog in there. We laughed about everything, and you still my dog.
Do we clap?
Anyways, right now Jeremiah goes on streams with people sometimes, but I haven't seen much of him since he left the villa. Clark and Taylor are still together. They go live together sometimes, and fans speculate that he's mistreating her behind closed doors.
Then all your Louis V bags will return tomorrow morning.
Ace and Shelly are still together, but they're also one of the most hated from the season. Not only for their part in the villa, but also because Nick and Ace were really close. Nick would repost Ace's success and comment on his photos, but after the reunion, Ace went on a podcast and said that Nicolandria is a fake relationship and that Nick isn't a real friend.
When it comes to the serious shit regarding my character, that's the things I take serious. And you feel like he didn't stand up for you? I told him, I said, yo, I feel like the answer that you gave was just mad PR and I didn't respect it. And he was like, well, I'm pretty much over it, so.
Do you feel like Nicolandria and Nick's relationship is real?
At the time of filming this, Nicolandria is going strong. They just hard launched that they're official.
My boyfriend's going to show his favorite drink and you better be nice.
And it seems like it's them against the whole cast because the people that they thought were their friends keep proving them wrong. I hope they're doing great mentally and I hope they find a better circle around them. All right, guys, I'm calling it here. I know this was a long one and I definitely missed some stuff with the Love Island because there's just so much drama to talk about. Not even inside the villa, but all the stuff post villa is so much to get into. My verdict is everyone this season is weird. There were more topics that broke the internet this year, like Sydney Sweeney has great jeans, the princess treatment lady.
I am at a restaurant with my husband. I do not talk to the hostess. I do not open any doors and I do not order my own food.
Ashton Hall, Republican makeup wars, and so much more. But I didn't find those topics interesting enough to give them a whole section on. Sue me. I hope you enjoyed this video because I know I did. Subscribe so you don't miss the end of the year recap.